Welcome to Primary Source Reading, a new series from B1 Decoded. In this series, we're setting aside later interpretations and simply reading the original historical sources. Today's episode comes from John Mackey's 1733 Memoirs of the Secret Services, where he recorded his observations of members of the British court. We'll read the pages, examine the descriptions, and let the original words speak for themselves. He is of a middle stature, well-shaped, a very black complexion, a lover of music and poetry, of good judgment, but by blood of a great hesitation in speech, wants expedition. He is about 42 years old. Our first source comes from John Mackey's Characters of the Court of Great Britain, published in 1733. Here Mackey is describing Charles, Duke of Somerset. Notice that the description includes physical appearance alongside personality and mannerisms. The phrase "a very black complexion" appears as part of the overall character sketch, allowing readers to examine the wording used in this 18th century source for themselves. The passage I just read can be found on page 17. On page 35, John Mackey turns to the Duke of Newcastle. Before describing his appearance, he notes that the Duke had made a great figure at his seat in Yorkshire, was firm for the constitution of his country, and had one only daughter who will be the richest heiress in Europe. Mackey is emphasizing the Duke's immense wealth and social position before concluding with his physical description. He is a black, ruddy-complexioned man, near 60 years old. Let's go over to page 39. Our next subject is George Fitzroy, Duke of Northumberland. Mackey begins by identifying him as the son of King Charles II and the Duchess of Cleveland. He recounts Fitzroy's military service, noting that he had been one of the captains of King James II's horse guards before the Revolution. Under Queen Anne, he was appointed Constable of Windsor Castle, became a lieutenant general, and was given command of the Earl of Oxford's regiment of horse. Mackey then turns to his personal character. He describes him as a man of honor, someone who paid his debts and lived well with his neighbors, although he had little interest in court conversation or political business. Finally, Mackey concludes with his physical description, writing, "Is a tall black man like his father the king, about 40 years old." Moving right along to page 40 in the same book by John Mackey, Memoirs of the Secret Services, published in 1733. Our next subject is Charles, Duke of St. Albans, another son of King Charles II, this time by Nell Gwynn. Mackey notes that he served as a gentleman of the bedchamber under King William and was sent to France to congratulate the Duke of Burgundy on his marriage. Turning to his personal character, Mackey describes him as a gentleman every way de bon naturel, meaning good-natured or agreeable. He says he was well-bred, not fond of business, and supportive of the constitution of his country. Mackey then records his physical appearance, writing, "He is of a black complexion, not so tall as the Duke of Northumberland, yet very like King Charles, turned of 30 years old. Charles Fitzroy, Duke of Grafton." The page continues with Charles Fitzroy, Duke of Grafton. Mackey identifies him as the grandson of King Charles II and the son of the heirs of Bennett, Earl of Arlington. He describes him as a very pretty gentleman, well-traveled, and zealous for the constitution of his country. Mackey concludes with the physical description, a tall black man about 25 years old. On page 71, we have Basil Fielding, Earl of Denbigh. Mackey identifies him as the representative of the Fielding family and notes that he served as a gentleman of the horse to the prince during the reign of King William. Following a disagreement between the king and the prince, he left that household and later held a regiment of dragoons. Mackey then offers a brief assessment of his character. He describes him as a gentleman of good nature, while adding that he was one of the greatest drinkers in England. He concludes with the physical description. He is tall, fat, very black, and turned of 40 years old. Our final two entries come from pages 74 and 75. First is Richard Lumley, Earl of Scarborough. Mackey traces his family background, recounts his military service under King William, and describes him as a gentleman of very good sense, a supporter of the Constitution, and an improver of trade. He concludes with the physical description, a handsome man of a brown complexion, turned of 50 years old. The final entry is the Earl of Kingston. Mackey describes him as a very fine gentleman, well-bred, of good sense, fond of the ladies, and devoted to the interests of his country. He ends by writing that the Earl was of a black complexion, well made, not 40 years old. As we reach the end of this first reading, it's worth pausing to reflect on what we've just heard. Over the course of only a few dozen pages, John Macky repeatedly describes members of Britain's nobility and political elite. Alongside their offices, military service, wealth, family connections, and personal character, he also records their physical appearance. Whether the descriptions are very black, black complexion, brown complexion, or black, ruddy complexioned, these are Macky's own words from a work published in 1733. The purpose of this series is not to tell viewers what conclusions they should draw. It is to return to the original documents, read them in context, and allow the historical record to be examined directly. If these descriptions differ from the mental picture many of us have inherited, that doesn't settle every historical question, but it does raise an important one. How do we reconcile the sources themselves with the stories we've been told about the past? That's the question this series will continue to explore, one primary source at a time. If you enjoyed reading these original historical sources with me, please subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Primary Source Reading. And if you'd like to go even deeper, visit my Substack, where I publish extended research, primary source collections, and articles with full citations. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next reading.